And the most enjoyable jokes are vulgar jokes. In that sense also I can say how Hasya is subordinate to Shringara. Very rude equation of course, but it is an equation and it holds good. So we have that way. And any adventure or any love, you should have an inbuilt message. And that message aspect should not be explicit. It should be suggestive and implicit, and there comes the element of dharma. So, even from the viewpoint of box office, this is validated. Well, we have horror films, but horror as horror should not end up. Some hero should come and he should clear off the horror, and the riddle has to be solved. Whether it is the Omen film or whether it is Exorcist film, starting from that to Dracula films, or even today's, the experience of the film itself is horror. There are many that we have these features. So, this is how in Natya Shastra we have these two rasas representing the whole Trivargas. And that is the Indian nature. And this is one of the reasons perhaps we didn't invented or discovered many things of the Western world, what it is marveled, and we are also marveled by that. Directly or indirectly should cater to Purushartha. If not, there is no purpose behind that. That's why Prayojana, I told in the beginning itself, the Anubandha Chatushtaya Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha and Prayojana. Prayojana means it should ultimately contribute to one or the other philosophical system, as one or the other Purusharthic value. Because you just see, many times what happens, idle curiosity may end up in the exploitation of nature. But if it is catering towards Purushartha, it will not exploit nature. We should see, Purushartha means how much I can enjoy and how much I can consume and how much I can share, like that. Means my capacity is what, it will always be borne in mind. So if I look at my capacity and do, we will not be chewing more than what we can gulp. If not, we have to spit, that's all. So perhaps this may be the reason behind our ancestors not pursuing so many things of wonderful curiosity. I am not taking this as an apology. I am more critical than anybody on earth towards my own self and my own heritage. Yet I respect it because it has so many beautiful things. And here one should notice that India, especially the Vedic culture and all, it is the oldest culture dated, and not the Assyrian or Babylonian or Egyptian, even earlier than that. It's all now dated and we know that. And so we, without the help of anybody developing so many things, it takes so much of pain and so much of trouble and so much of effort. And I think we can't even imagine how mankind developed wheel and how from a bald wheel to a spoked wheel. It would have taken thousands of years. But nowadays, we develop generations of computers within few months. But in this logarithmic scale or exponential scale, that development has not happened. It took its own long course. Think something comparable to evolution, it happened there. It is not technological leap, it is the evolution. So the scale is different. With that understanding we have to see, then they would have taken so much of time to develop that. The number system, the decimal system, the basic medication and basic values of human life, and extracting metals from minerals. So many things are there, and hundreds of such things were developed even before 7,000 years or 6,000 years. And later they were transformed to Mesopotamia and Egypt, and then came to Crete, and then came to Greece. How come Greece had a meteoric rise? After all, the Greek culture developed by around 1200 BC and saw its zenith by 300 BC. During the time of Pericles, the Greece had its golden era. It is said so. Means around 4th century BC. Within a span of some 600 or 700 years, Greeks could achieve so much means it's because of much indebtedness of Greece to Egypt, Mesopotamia and India. Unfortunately, historians have recorded the indebtedness up to Mesopotamia and not to India. So when we see all these things, and Rajaram in one of his books, a primer-like book, very good book, he has raised this point, and we should be keen enough to know that even more in a greater detail. So they would have had much time in these things. And hence, we should not pester them with all these things. Our ancestors should not be subjected to embarrassing situation, undue embarrassing situation. Why you are not that? Why you are not this? Well, now you have been exposed to all these things. Why can't you do that? My objective is essentially on that. Our spirit is not against modernity. Our spirit is not against change. Our spirit is not against development. Our spirit is truly for these things. If not, discard any prescription, if anything exists, that checks positive development and pertinent improvisation. If any statement is there that is checking that, you discard. Even for that, we have values in our tradition. Our tradition gives so much of strength and support for us to reject that also, which no other tradition has dared done that. Not even the modern materialistic tradition. So in that sense, we should have genuine respect of understanding and feeling. And that's why Swami Vivekananda, in spite of he being so critical about Sanatana Dharma, he is a Sanatana Dharmi. He remained so. And is the best example of that. He was so critical about Adi Shankara also. Yet, he remained a sannyasi of Shankara tradition. He is not Naren. He is not Narendranath Datta. He is not just Swami Vivekananda. He is Swami Vivekananda Puri. Puri is one of the Dashanami sannyasis names. Puri, Giri, Vana, Narasimha, Samudra, Parvata, Bharati, Saraswati are all Tirtha, Aranya. These are the 10 names which are developed by Shankara for sannyasis, identifying with the wider world and the cosmic world. That's so. And Vivekananda is that. And even today in Ramakrishna order, their name, complete name is Puri. For just information I am giving, if you go to any of the Sanskrit works of Swami Harshananda, you will be knowing on the cover, it's not Swami Harshananda, it is Swami Harshananda Puri. So, in spite of all criticality to our tradition and all that, they remind. This is the internal criticism. It is always welcomed, and it is so. And within my humble limits, I am that. I am very critical to my tradition, yet I remain to my tradition, my country, and our value systems. Because of this, I am this. As it is said in Pratitya Samutpada, because of my country and my learning, my tradition, I am critical. If I had born somewhere, I don't know whether I would have become critical or not. So I am critical and I owe that. That has given so much of strength. The water alone has given me so much of strength to push it back and come forward. That's how in swimming we work out. And this is happening. So Itihasa and history have to be taken in different sense. Yet they are rough equations. We know one dictum, all synonyms are not equanyms. So is this history and Itihasa. And here we take history at that sense. In this sense, Ramayana is history and Mahabharata is history. And many people among you, or at least a few considerable, sizable people, they may be interested in knowing the historicity of Ramayana and Mahabharata. Ramayana and Mahabharata, the basic events, they happened. They are true. That is reality. But Ramayana and Mahabharata, as written by Vyasa and Valmiki, and the text as brought forward from our tradition since time immemorial, it is not reality. See, Shankara is a reality, but Shankara Vijaya is not reality. It's a work of art. What quality of art, you may have dispute. But it is work of art. But that doesn't mean that Shankara was a non-existent. So is Rama and Krishna and Pandavas. They really existed. And the dates are also calculated. And again here I am saying regarding dates and other things, on the basis of the available sources, up-to-date sources I am saying, and they may also be challenged in future, we don't know. But we should have the openness to accept that. Accordingly, we know Mahabharata events happened before 5000 years or so. Mahabharata war happened around 3062 BC or something like that, say. We are not exact about that, but roughly we can say before some 5200 years or 5100 years, it happened. And Mahabharata, it is said in the Mahabharata, the descendants of the people who came from the lineage of Rama, that is from the solar lineage, Surya Vamsha, they fought in the Mahabharata war, and it is clearly said, it is after a certain generation, I don't remember exactly the generation, perhaps after the 35th or the 40th generation, the people came from the Rama's lineage, they fought, and the scholars have calculated, and that vaguely corresponds to some 750 to 800 years. And so Ramayana's events are datable to 6000 years ago. And so 4000 BC may be roughly the date of Ramayana event, and 5000 BC roughly the date of Mahabharata. And some people may question about our yugas, our kalpas and whatnot. I honestly feel that their reality is of other plane. In the Puranas, these details they are presented. The cosmic nature of time, that is driven home there. The infinite magnitude and dimension, the directions of time and space are wonderfully given in the Puranas. They should not be taken in the literary sense. If you take in the literary sense and try to argue for the historicity, it goes to like something like even before the creation of this planet. Dr. B.G.L. Swami, I remember, he had once challenged Tamilians. If you start calculating according to your Puranas of the Puranas like Periya Purana or Ahapurul or some such thing, and the dating of Tolkappiyam as per on your whims and fancy, you may end up in one date that Tamils existed even before chimpanzees or Neanderthal or Peking man. Like that it happens. This is a warning given by me to the champions who herald the cause of Puranic dating. Puranic dating means it goes to several lakhs of years, even before the origin of man, even before the existence of fire and other things. And if you say all the divine, then why not Christianity, why not Islam? They are also equally divine. Is it not? So if you go by reason and rhyme, it is this. Tentative timing as per the available evidences. I don't know, they may be challenged in future, then I should be capable of accepting that if they are prudent and pertinent. Well, and then the detailing of that Ramayana and Mahabharata, we have a lot of poetry. For example, we know the 10 heads of Ravana or the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. It's all poetry. If you want to take it in the real sense, you have to make some other corrections. He was as wise as 10 people or as strong as 10 people. He was the lord of 10 clans, and so his diadem had 10 diadems, something like that, 10 crowns put together, something like that. We have to make Dasashiras Ravana. And Dhritarashtra had 10 wives, and all wives had 10 children. In Mahabharata, it is said along with Gandhari, all the younger sisters of Gandhari were married to Dhritarashtra. Not many people know. See, very few people would have read Mahabharata in original. It rather sucks us to read all 1,100 verses, 1 lakh verses. It's very difficult. Having read it honestly, cover to cover, completely once, with all the textual variants, and many times, many portions, I am saying this. So one need not be doubtful regarding my credentials in this. And not to speak of Ramayana. I have read every Purana, almost all the available Agamas, all the Darshanas from cover to cover, and so I am saying. And that's why you need not doubt on my basic sources. It's rather ugly, clumsy, and vulgar to say, I have done this, I have done that. But at times when there may be doubt, to dispel the darkness of doubt, I am saying this, not for anything else. So, like that, we have to make here and there corrections and bring it down to reality, or bring it down or up to reality. Because we don't know whether reality is higher or lower. However, the spirit of it is verily, verily humane in nature. That we should never forget. Again, I am saying, it is not mythology. Ramayana and Mahabharata, it's history in the real sense at one plane. And at another plane, it is poetry. Poetry means essentially connected with human beings, essentially connected with human feelings. And in our aesthetic tradition, it is said, gods don't have rasa. Gods cannot enjoy rasa. And animals also cannot enjoy rasa. Only human beings can enjoy rasa. If at all gods have to enjoy rasa, means they have to impose the human feelings on them. And that's why even in our art creations, gods are given the human touch. And why Krishna of Puranas, or our Shiva of our Puranas, and Indra of Puranas behave so? Why Indra is so jealous of other saints who are performing penance? Or why Shiva is so carried away by Parvati's penance? Because we try to humanize them. So even when we want to make gods enjoyable, we have to scale down up to our level. We have to have our colors. We have to infuse our blood. This is even the nature, when it has to be made enjoyable, we try to humanize nature. You just see, this is the difference between Homer and Kalidasa, or Shakespeare and Kalidasa. In Homer, at any time when he describes sea, which is inseparable part of Greek culture, he says that cold saline water. But we say so much about the things. They have, of course, they have a god like Poseidon, they have humanized, but the human feelings they are brought in Poseidon, but not while describing the sea. We, apart from describing sea as Varuna, and Varuna being humanized, or Samudra Deva as humanized form, while describing a creeper, we try to show Lata Nati, Lata Vanita, a creeper lady, a creeper girl like that. Even a poet like Kuvempu Pulla Kusuma Lata Nati, Kusuma Lalita, Kusuma Valita Leelan Dolita Kati, like that he says. This is it. Even Kalidasa, he makes that, whether it is Jayadeva, whatever, whoever, this is so. So we try to humanize nature. Without that we can't enjoy. See, sun is taken as hero, and the twilight is taken as heroine. But sun cannot meet the twilight, though she is just in front of him. That's how our aesthetics has developed so much. Anuragavati Sandhya, Devasastat Purasaraha, Aho Daivagati Kidrika, Tathapina Samagamaha. Like that we have Chanchachandra Karasparsha, Harshon Milita Taraka, Aho Ragavati Sandhya, Jahati Swayamambaram. Valmiki I am quoting. Again here, the moon is taken as hero, and the twilight is taken as heroine, and the stars are taken as the eyes, and the rays of moon are taken as the hands, and he laying hands on the twilight, and she is losing her robe. That's Ambara, means the twilight is fading away from the sky. Such implied pun, Samasokti, it's all present. So humanizing is very, very significant aspect of Indian culture. It is there. We humanize The so-called inferior creation and the so-called superior creation. The so-called superior creation gods are also brought down, scaled down. And the so-called inferior creations, the inanimate and the animate, like the plant and animal kingdom, members of animal plant kingdom, they are all scaled up to human level. This is how we try to express, and that is seen. And that's why you can know, more than enjoying the Puranas, even today we enjoy Ramayana and Mahabharata because the human element is more predominant in Ramayana and Mahabharata than in Purana. Of course, we do have the Puranic elements, that's the mythological element, both in Ramayana and Mahabharata. Yet, the human element is more important. See, history is nothing but the chronicle of events, nothing but reporting the events. But what they mean to us, there comes the human feelings. Purushartha is that value is what? Hiranyana beautifully says, that which is pursued for its own sake is a value. For its own sake, we have to enjoy that. See, many times for taste we eat food, not just for nourishment. If at all for nourishment, you would have not bothered the tongue. Directly bypassing the tongue, we can have as well have the tubes, and we can as well have the pills, or we can as well have the intravenous connections and get along with that, but we are not doing. That means enjoyment is there. So the element of enjoyment, which is essentially emotional in nature, that is predominant in Ramayana and Mahabharata. And the historical feature is also there, and that's why the values realized in the backdrop of factuality, it's a wonderful combination. And with this light, I could as well appreciate the historicals of Shakespeare and the epics of Homer and whatnot. And the other feature of it is, especially Mahabharata, encyclopedic in nature. It has its own positive and negative features. Now what has happened, why I am saying this, one of my young friends, Sri H.A. Vasuke, very brilliant mind, he is ruthlessly critical. Of course, he is valid to a great extent. Why in Mahabharata, Shanti Parvan and Anushasana Parvan, almost coming to 20,000 verses, they are no way connected with the main story, just information. So much about Dharma Shastra, Artha Shastra, Moksha Shastra, right and wrong, cosmos and chaos, all put together. Why? So many internal contradictions, tenable at no time, because, of course, we do have such discrepancies. With all that, I feel that our tradition is inclusive in nature. In inclusivity, we do have the problems of such. Another thing is, because of the inclusivity, it is a continuous one. It is one. If it were to be exclusive, we would have not had anything continuous. We would have been already bygone. And that's why I told last time, we have never written anything clearly called history, because there is nothing which is completed yet. Everything is ongoing. Natya Shastra, for that matter, Shesham Uttara Tantrena Gokhale Kathayishyati says, the remaining will be told by Gokhale. We don't know when Gokhale will come, when he will complete. Means this will be completed later. Somebody will come. Like that means it's an open end. Open end is a very wonderful thing. Take Kalidasa's Meghaduta for that matter. Kalidasa's Meghaduta starts with the words of poet and then the words of Yaksha. You carry my message to my beloved who stays in Alaka. Like that he is requesting the cloud messenger. And he says, Mabhudevam kshanamapi sakhe vidyuta viprayogaha. O cloud, if you take my message and communicate to my beloved, I will be greatly helped. And I can only wish this much. You shall never be away from your beloved, the lightning. Poet never says whether the cloud messenger went there and communicated and all. It's open end. And some idiots have extrapolated verses The cloud messenger going there, communicating, and the wife of Yaksha becoming happier, and having heard all the story, Kubera, who had cursed the Yaksha, became compassionate and brought back Yaksha from curse, and both lived happily. So that way of nicely whitewashing the group photo and bringing out, all that Kalidasa has never done. It's an open end. It's an aspiration of Yaksha. And still the cloud is moving. Every monsoon cloud is moving from Ramagiri to Alka. He'll be carrying and carrying and carrying. So the eternal separation of Yaksha and Yakshi and the aspiration for eternal union will always remain. So this is another plane of understanding events. And here we see the beauty of Indian culture. And in that sense, I think Mahabharata has become an encyclopedia. And in an encyclopedia, so many unwanted things to us are also present. Especially a work of that distance will have that. I'm not justifying that. I'm just giving another way of looking at it. So we have that. That information is there, and we know information can decay very fast. The nature of information is that it has to be updated. And Mahabharata was updated. And that's why we have so many extrapolations and so many variants, readings. Dakshinatya Patha, Gaudiya Patha, Uttaraha Patha, Kashmiri Patha, Uditya Patha, like that many pathas are there. More than 750 manuscripts were examined by the Pune Institute of Bhandarkar Research Institute, BORI of Pune, under the headship of Vishnu Sitaram Sukhtankar. For 60 years, more than 1,000 scholars on the globe, they worked together to bring out one edition of Mahabharata. What they claim, perhaps this is the oldest available text, not the very text written by Vyasa. They say this can be safely said as the grandfather of all the available manuscripts. Prachina Patha, that's all. So, with that we have to see Ramayana and Mahabharata, and so many other details are coming into picture. Why all these things added? Because the story is very attractive. The events are so pulsating, and the value is so engrossing and sublime. Because of that, let other people also read along with this the information. And you just look at our Nitya Prayogas, the Sandhya Vandana and all, so many things are added to it. I did the weeding out of all these things in my work Sandhya Darshana. And in the second edition, in the preface, I have written, if I had the mindset of today's, before writing the first edition's one, I would have never attempted the work at all. But we need this, yet we have to adhere to the things. We know sugar is the ultimate destination of sugar cane, yet sugar cane should remain. It has to serve its own purpose. The leaves of sugar cane are meant for the cattle and even for decoration, and the squeezed one, it will be used as fuel and are the raw material for paper industry. So many purposes are there. They are no way meaningful to sugar, yet they have to remain. And then the unwanted and dangerous side byproduct is there, that molasses, and not to speak of the distilled wonder of molasses and the marvels of that. Well, all are present. So Mahabharata is something like sugar cane. Bharatan Chikshudandancha Samudrancha Vivarnaya. So said Vyasa, a question put to Kalidasa. You describe Mahabharata, the moonrise, and then the sugar cane, and even the ocean. He told Pratiparva Rasodayam Padamekam Pradasyami Pratiparva Sordaya. Parva has the four meanings, the sections of Mahabharata, the rise of moon, and so the rise of the oceans, and also the cut in every unit of the sugar cane. You know, that joint is there at every point, a fixed point of 6 inches or 7 inches, like that. Why I am saying this? We have to look at Ramayana and Mahabharata not like the historians, not like the blind worshippers, and not as mere critical people. We have to look as poets, and we'll be getting maximum benefit out of that. In poetry, the value is never ignored, and beauty is also a value. Ramayana and Mahabharata, they are like that. Even to write a short story, we read the experiential background of one or the other event in our life or somebody's life. Then what about a pulsating epic like Ramayana, or another much more pulsating epic like or Mahabharata, having so many characters, very different. Bhima is so different from Dharmaraja, and Arjuna is entirely different from these two. And all these three brothers, you work together. It's another wonder. And the ignored twins, they have their own unique characteristics, yet they underplay. And all the five brothers put together, they are so well joining hands with Krishna, and yet Krishna remains different from all these. And the mother Kunti, and another mother Gandhari, and another mother Madri, and a wife like Draupadi, and she is also mother. So many ways, and this is how the value of history is understood. Value of history is not explicit in the Western tradition, but in us it is because of this. And again, we have certain problems with that, but roses always have thorns. See, if you prepare food, some amount of food will be adhering to the vessels where the food has been prepared. To save all that, you can't lick the vessel. It's rather clumsy. Like that, certain amount of waste, certain amount of unanswerability is always there. This is how we have to take Itihasa. And Purana. Purana is a wonderful thing. Again, I am saying, all the details may not be useful, may not be of use. Rather boring and contradicting. One thing my friend Vasu always says, if you write too much, there will be so much of useless and ambiguous things and contradicting things. Naturally, it happens. I have thought again and again about myself. I speak too much. Much of waste will always be there. What to do? So, in Puranas, we have so much. It's a storehouse. I say Puranas can be equated with modern Wikipedia. In Wikipedia, anybody can add and it can be removed at times. See, in Wikipedia, I have seen so much of information, and at many places the information is so wrong. Just to give an example, I don't know whether still it exists in that entry or not. Under the heading Dharma, it is the practice which was followed by one of the medieval cults of India. Do you have anything connected with Dharma? Like that, we have so many things. So Wikipedia, but very useful. One and all can add, and it can be removed as well. Easily accessible, ever growing. Puranas are so. So many people have interpolated, have thrown their ideas, good or bad, into Puranas. And they are again and again updated, modified, corrected, additions and deletions are all going on. In spite of that, they have useful material. It's something like Ganga. So many things coming in, polluting, and yet Ganga remaining Ganga. Puranavam iti Puranam, that is one of the etymological meanings of Purana. The old new. Puranavam, the old new. Puranam, that's the oldest. And Purana, I told mythology, and here we have a wonderful communication of images, suggestions and symbols. One physical truth will be represented in one manner in the Vedas, and that will be much more beautiful way represented in the Puranas. Just take one example. The Vamana Avatar. Bali, was ruling supreme, and he conquered the gods, and the gods went to Vishnu, and Vishnu took the form of Vamana, the dwarf man, and came to ask for 3 pieces of land. 3 steps of land is sufficient for me. Bali gave that, and then he grew enormously tall and big, And in one step, he conquered the whole earth, and in another step, the heaven, and in the third step, he just snubbed Bali to the infernal deeps. So, this is the story of Purana. But this is based on the natural phenomenon that sun rises in the morning, and in the noon he comes at the mid-noon above the heads, and then by the time of dusk he would have gone to the other end. Idam Vishnur Vichakrame Tredhanida Depadam, like that the Veda says. And the sun moving in 12 zodiac symbols in the 12 months, Dvadashamasa Samvatsaraha, like that the Veda says, the 12 aspects of sun in the 12 months of the year are called Dvadashadityas, and the youngest, the 12th one, is called Vishnu. The youngest is Vamana, dwarf. That is the suggestion which is taken from the Vedas by the Purana. And the sun's encroachment, the physical phenomenon, is taken as Vishnu's encroachment in the sun in the Vedas. Sun is equated with Vishnu. Vyapnoti iti Vishnu. He who expands is called Vishnu. Vyapnoti iti Vishnu is the etymology of Vishnu. And then in the Puranas, it has become a wonderful story. Puranic story is much more enjoyable because it has lot of drama. So, that is there. That physical meaning, that is the Adibhuta meaning, is developed as an Adidaiva story, means a mythological story of gods and demons. But it has an intrinsic Adhyatma meaning. That's the spiritual meaning. Again, Adhyatma and spiritual, you should know the differences, and yet for convenience I am continuing with the equanimity. This is to be taken from the Brihadaranyaka, Chandogya and the Mandukya Upanishads. The three states, that is the state of wakefulness, dream and sound sleep. The state of wakefulness is the first step of Vamana, conquering the earth. In the wakeful state, the world is so concrete, we indulge and all that earthly. And dreams have a different spatio-temporal frame. And in the dream, when we equate it with the time and space scale of the wakeful, we will be knowing how fast we would have moved and how wonderfully we would have done so many things. Psychiatrists and the scientists, they say that no dream will be longer than 3 or 4 minutes. Very short. All the dreams are very, very short. Even 3-minute long dream, the wakeful state scale, is a long one. But in sleep, we would have felt completely that. It's so convincing. Only when we wake up, we have questions. In that feeling, we never had that. Its spatio-temporal activity is much more wider and much more fanciful, and that is like the space. And in the sound sleep, you would have forgotten our own individual existence, that is Bali nipped down, snubbed down to infernal deeps, and swasmin apitaha bhavati, completely taken in, and that has happened, and that is Bali going down. So in the pure level of consciousness, nothing remains except absolute bliss. And this avasthatraya is represented in the Vamanavatara. So that is the Adhyatmic meaning. So Adidaiva, Adibhuta and Adhyatma, these 3 layers of meanings are there. And Puranic meaning is Adidaiva, elaborately Adidaiva, the events of gods and demons and all this coloring. And to convey this in an artistic manner, we have to take the help of Puranas. Because the 3 levels of experience, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, has to be conveyed means how to. Nowadays dancers, they scream so much to make some wonderful productions. I have to take that, this and all. I will do some dance on Panini's Maheshwara Sutra. I will do some dance on Kautilya's Arthashastra. I will do some dance on Bhaskaracharya's Leelavati. All the stupid things have been done by many, many so-called dancers who know nothing about the aesthetics of Indian culture as such. They have to go to the Puranas, and the mythological stories have to be represented as they are. Then you'll be knowing. I think, did I told about how a Puranic story can be given a frame and the interpretations can be different? By taking some metallurgical example with Ramayana and Mahabharata, did I told? Because I'm a petty shop owner. I have the same little commodity. I have to recirculate again and again the same thing. And the same thing would have been told at many places, because I can't say new story of Ramayana or Mahabharata or Upanishad. The same thing has to be told to different people. And if the same groups are addressed the same thing, I don't know the same recording being played. That's why I'm very scared of that. Well, if not, thank God. This is my experience. When I was working for my degree in Institute of Science, in the metallurgy department, one international conference on metallurgy was arranged. Then one group of dancers were called to perform. And the dancers were so excited, though there was no condition that they have to dance something connected with metallurgy, they assumed that condition. They went to my professor who was in charge of these activities. We want to do some theme on metallurgy. Would it be right? My professor said, why not? It will be nice. My professor knew nothing about dance and nothing about the limitations of a classical art like dance. And also he said, my student is there. He is well informed in dance and he is a metallurgist, so you can consult him. He will be knowing both. Well, so the problem came to me. I told, what that you are going to do? They said, we stand like this cupola and we stand like this open hearth and somebody pouring the pig iron into it and somebody taking that and doing all that. What you are aping, dance or miming? As well we can show a film show. What fun we have. Dance means emotions. What emotions we have? Nothing. No mining and then processing and all that. It's so stupid. We need not. We should not. Then what to do? I said, I can't do any help. You go. You go to dogs. I don't bother. Then they went somewhere here and there. Nobody could come to their help. No Xavier was there. They went all around the 14 worlds and then Ian came back to me. Then no more time was left. Only few days were there. Then I told, you just dance Ramayana, it is enough. What shall I dance? Just dance Bhavayami Raghuramam, you know already, is it not? That Bhavayami Raghuramam composition of Swati Tirunal, you dance. I shall speak before that for 5 minutes and I shall add a bit of it to the tail end, Sita Parityaga. You dance that also. Few minutes dance, that's all. Well, I shall give some meaning to it. It happened. What I told, Sita is like the mineral resources. Sita came from the earth and Rama getting married. Sita getting married, Rama. So, Rama representation of ruling. Means a ruler has to explore the underground resources and other things. So, Sita going to Rama. And then Ravana kidnapping Sita means a violent and cunning ruler who is exploiting nature, wants to exploit to a maximum extent and wanted to snatch away Sita from Rama. And Rama wanted to restore the balance. He fought war and Sita got back. But the people started abusing Sita. Started abusing Rama's own people, started abusing Sita means Rama meant for an ideal. Rama as an ideal of using them in a right way, metals and resources. The people started abusing. Then the metals thought, we should not remain, we shall go back. So Sita after Parityaga went back to Mother Earth. So this is how Sita going back. This is the Adibhuta meaning of Ramayana at the metallurgical level. See, now it may look so ridiculous and hilarious, but the conference went on so successfully and one and all got so much of appeal. My professor said, what a wonderful presentation, so beautiful. And the artist got the credits for interpreting Ramayana like this. She did the same Bhavayami Raghuramam. No more additions, no more deletions. Why I am saying, the multi-layered meaning of the Puranas, that is because of the esoteric story. That is because of the mythical nature. We have multi-layered meaning. And we have to restore the Puranic stories as they are. We can give a realistic interpretation also. See, the Vamana story has been given the realistic interpretation also. Bali, a ruler, a Dravidian ruler, was attacked by the wily, crafty Aryan rulers of North India, and they were driven away, and he was driven away to South America or Bali Island. And once in a year he will be coming back, and in that reminiscence, as though a Messiah will be coming, even today the Deepavali is celebrated, something like that, an anthropological interpretation, a communistic interpretation, like that. So many things have been given. Well, that's again an interpretation, not reality. You can give any number of interpretations, but they are not realities. That amount of possibility is there in the Puranas, and that we should never ignore. And Puranas give a meta language to communication, and we need that meta language. And just you see, America, so rich in material resources and scientific technological development, is in dearth of Puranic feeling, and that's why they are creating a cartoon character like Superman or Batman, She-Man, He-Man, that man, this man, all in the three genders man. And not to speak of so many other characters. Means they want heroes. We have Hanuman. Why we need Superman? Not that we should discard Superman. I was the first person to rush for the Superman film when it was released in the Galaxy Theatre long ago in my student days. I saw all the series of Superman. Even today, I love to watch all that. I enjoy that. But I equally enjoy, rather I enjoy even more my Hanuman. Because our Puranic stories are not just Indian aspirations, they are the aspirations of the world. We need that superheroes, we need that demigods, we need that magical world. But we have developed a wonderful aesthetics. Lord of the Rings, what is that? It's trying to develop a Purana, is it not? But it at most becomes fancy of one person. It will be read and forgotten. And even Mrs. Rowling's Harry Potter, it's an attempt to create another Purana. I do appreciate, but they limit themselves to one generation and one author. But our Puranas are not. And even the Greek Puranas are not. But unfortunately, Greek Puranas, they don't have a live link. In spite of Europe discovering the Greek mythology, rediscovering that in the time of Renaissance, they could not connect in all respects. Few wires are connected, not all the wires. And so current never flows there. But here we have the religious connection, we have the artistic connection, we have the historical connection, we have the geographical connection, we have the economic connection, and so many ways of connections. And that's why Puranic stories, they become much more meaningful and marvelous. That should never forget. In that sense, Puranic stories have so much to contribute. And now, as the material affluence is seen, and the advent of materialism is much more prominent, in the entertainment industry will have a great heyday. It's set, and it's marching fast. And for the entertainment industry, this wonder, this meta language is the only way. If not, why you just see the recent Hollywood productions and all? They are all visual marvels, nothing but graphic wonders. We need that. All the gods, demons and human beings, they went at the end of Krita Yuga to Brahma. Kridaniya kamichamo dashtum shrotum cha yadbhavet. We need an entertainment, audio visual entertainment. That's how Natyashastra starts. And even today we are going to Hollywood or Bollywood or Tollywood or Kollywood or whatever wood. With that one dictum, we need an entertainment, audio visual entertainment. For that, Puranic lore is a wonderful raw material. And we have to tap it. If not, very, very meager, very primitive, insane, I should say, caricatures are developed. And that's how we have seen many cartoon films based on our Puranas. No research, no beauty, no erudition, no entertainment, no professionalism, nothing. And I shall go to the details of Puranas and their Panchalakshanas later and come to the other elements like Darshanas and wind up the Ashtadashi Vidyas tomorrow and go to Vedas in detail. Please feel free to ask questions and come with the questions. I invite your comments of any sort. Thank you. With the ecology, and so without any coloring, any harming coloring, chemical coloring and all that, with the vegetable colors or even without colors, how to worship Ganapati and where these images will be available, those details will be given by our friends. Please have an ear to them.